Hey, Jamie Lewis, how are you?
I am well, thank you, Andre. Yeah.
So glad that I could catch this beautiful moment to talk to you about a question that's so dear to you. To understand a person, we need to know their story, what we believe about God, about the world, about themselves, they value. And so the question is, what formative experience have helped to shape you today about this matter?
Yeah. Just to affirm what you said there and embedded in that question, this idea that we can, the Bible says that by their fruits you will know them, but by their roots you will understand them. And so uh to get to know me a little bit better, I guess there'd be three formative phases in my life. One would be my upbringing overseas, born and reared in Indonesia, and my dad was a minister, a Christian minister. My parents were missionaries there, and the positives of being able to grow up in another culture, yeah, are just amazing. Being able to see different way of life of others, and then my life at boarding school was rich with crazy fun adventures with fellow TCKs, um, and I remember those fondly. Also had great education, um, and privilege. Really, I recognize that I had a lot of privilege, um, being able to travel extensively and see a lot of parts of the world, and that continued in my adult life when I lived in Indonesia as well. So, but there were things that were difficult as well from my upbringing. And one particularly hard thing in my life was I was sent away to a boarding school starting at age 6. Quality education, good people at those schools, but I was separated from my parents for probably 8 to 9 months out of the year, and from my older siblings as well. I was separated from them. And it wasn't until I was later in my 30s, and I can uh, share about that just briefly after this, that I began to see that I learned to stuff my pain, because I was in a dorm situation often with 20 to 25 kids with one set of dorm parents, or hostile parents. And they can't see the heart of each child. And so I had to work through that later, what that was doing in my relationship. So let me just launch into the second part of my life then, would be after I finished high school, went back to the States for uh, about a period of 10 years, got my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, got married, had a child, and then we returned I went back to Indonesia this time to work and live there, and with a family. And probably about 4 to 5 years in, there was a season of amazing, just some amazing stuff that happened in the circle of friends and colleagues that we had, and that was just we started to learn about inner healing, and we started practicing on each other, and the Lord opened up some things in me. I had a fear of failure, fear of rejection from father figures and older brother figures in my life, and it was hurting my relationship with my wife, with my children, with colleagues. And the Lord was gracious to kind of peel back some of those layers. He didn't allow it to all happen at once, because I think it would be too much if we get healed up all in one. It would just be like overwhelming. So I got to peel back the layers, story by story, and so that was another season. And then uh, after about 26 years in Indonesia, my wife and I came back to the States, um, or moved back to the States, I should say, because in many ways my home is Indonesia, right? So I didn't go back home to the States. In many ways, it was Indonesia. And the last 5 to 6 years, Andre, have been deeply shaping and formative for me. It's been very humbling. We left our organization on good terms. We just felt like God was calling us to life beyond uh, um, our commitments to that organization. And I did a variety of things, but it was hard. I was a senior leader back there in Indonesia. Now, I just felt like a nobody or like I was unknown. And but the sweetness of encounter with the Lord Jesus that was shaped in me through times that were hard. I was a barista. I did part-time job as a vocation formation group leader for seminary students and cohorts of seminary students. I was an apartment manager and doing, fixing light bulbs, and putting in light bulbs and fixing, just simple stuff around. It was just like amazing. Here I was just doing stuff that was it was good. I enjoyed that, but it was humbling. But through that I learned a sweetness of encounter with Jesus. So those are things that have been shaping and forming in my life. And I'll stop there. Maybe you have a question or a comment, Andre, in response to that.
That's great. So these are shaped by your life experience, and those experiences shape you. That's great. And do you expect that is a normal way to look at experiences shape our life? Is always the case, or is it different ways to look at this?
I think we often feel like our vocation. I got to find my vocation. Vocation and calling is shaped in us. It's not found. It's not something that we magically find. It's shaped in us through life experiences that then are affirmed by those with whom we are in community. That's why community is important too. And they say, you know what I see in you, and they affirm that. So yes, I think it's very important for us to pay attention to our life. Let Your Life Speak is a book by Parker Palmer. And that's what we need to learn to do, to let our lives speak and how we've been shaped and formed.
That's great. I'm so excited to go deeper with all different subjects that she just shared. Wonderful information of life and stories. I can't wait to ask more questions with you, Jamey. I know your name and email is on the website so people can directly ask questions with you, and looking forward to do more videos with you. Thank you, Jamey, for your time.
Thank you, Andre.